Welcome back, writers. Hopefully, in the last couple of days, you've had a chance to write your claim and turn it into what we call a thesis for your introduction to your literary essay. So guess what? You are a few days in, which means you are already becoming literary essayists. Isn't that a funny big term? What that means is that you are a writer who knows how to write an essay. So you've done the introduction, you've written you've stated your claim and written your thesis statement, and then you have written a hook. Now I thought I would get my chart out that we did together the other day, and I made a little bit of a change to it. You'll see, when we were writing it the first time, I wrote that Opal was kind-hearted, and I decided I wanted to change that to open-hearted because that's really what I believe to be the most true character trait about Opal in the story. So watch with me as I read along. In the book Winn-Dixie, the character Opal shows she is open-hearted by how she makes friends so easily. So there I have made my claim. I have claimed that Opal is open-hearted, and then I've added a hook. Just like little Willie, she is open to others and kind. Now, what I'm doing there is choosing to make a comparison to another book. Remember how we talked about your hooks can either compare to another story or character or ask a question? I've decided to use that as my hook, a comparison. But now what I want to talk to you about today is coming up with reasoning. Now, you might be wondering, what's going to make up these other paragraphs of this 5-paragraph literary essay? Well, you've got paragraph 1, that's your introduction. Today, you're going to be practicing writing your 3, what we call body paragraphs. And the way you do that is you go back to that research you did last week and choose the 3 biggest reasons that show why you think Jeremy is the way he is. Let me show you what I mean. In mine, I have said Opal is big-hearted because she takes in a stray dog. In the book, she says, he was an ugly dog, but I already loved him with all my heart. This quote shows that even though Winn-Dixie is messy, Opal sees past that and opens her heart to him. Now that's the end of my first paragraph. Well, really, it's my second paragraph in the whole essay, but it's the first one of the 3 that you're going to write today. And what I want you to know, writers, the main thing that you're doing when you write a paragraph that explains reasoning for your thesis, you do 3 things. And you're going to be seeing this today in Google Classroom. You have your, oops, my marker to work, claim or thesis. That's the first thing you have. And then you have evidence. Okay? And then you have what's called reasoning. 3 things: claim, evidence, and reasoning. You do those 3 things, and there you have one of your paragraphs. So let's go back to mine, and I'll show you what I mean. The sentence that starts with Opal, I have a little black line here. Opal is big-hearted because she takes in a stray dog. That's my claim. Remember, claim, evidence, reasoning. My claim is the same thing that I wrote up here. It's my statement, it's my thesis statement. Now, evidence, remember how last week you found evidence in your books? In the book, she says, he was an ugly dog, but I already loved him with all my heart. That's a direct quote, that's an exact quote, that's evidence. But then I go on to explain what that quote means. Why did I include that? That's called my reasoning. This quote shows, do you see how this language is explaining why I chose that quote? This quote shows that even though Winn-Dixie is messy, Opal sees past that and opens her heart to him. So I have a claim, my evidence, and reasoning. That is a paragraph. Now, I have 2 more paragraphs to write, and I'm going to use my other pieces of evidence, my other reasoning, my other reasons why I feel like she's open-hearted. I'm not going to do that right now because that would take too long. But let's go into your Google Classroom for today, and I want to show you what I mean. Where did it go? One second, writers. I'm going to find it really quick. Okay. Here we go. Thank you for your patience. So if you look in your writer's notebook for today, this was lesson 1 that you did on Monday, where you did your thesis, your big, bold claim thesis. Now let's go down to lesson 2, which is today. You'll notice that I say, lesson 2, I can add my reasoning to support my claim and evidence. So notice you'll see what I just showed you on the whiteboard. Claim, evidence, reason. Now I gave you a handy dandy little color-coded chart here to help you practice how to do this on your own. Now this is from the example that we used from those shoes about Jeremy being compassionate. Look at the yellow is the claim. Let's say it with me. Jeremy is compassionate because he gave Antonio the 2 small shoes. Claim, right? Okay, that's the first thing we're doing in this paragraph. Second, the evidence. In the book it states, now gosh, that just tells me right away that the writer is about to give me evidence from the story, an exact quote. In the book it states, Jeremy put the shoes on the front door and ran. That's an exact quote from the story. But let's go on and figure out why, or explain why I chose that quote with the reason. This quote shows how Jeremy is compassionate because he gave Antonio his 2 small shoes, even though he didn't want to. Jeremy knew Antonio needed the shoes more than he did. So you can see, this is an example of a paragraph. Maybe it would be the first paragraph that comes after my introduction. So today, writers, you're going to write paragraph 1, you can see here, claim, evidence, reason. Paragraph 2 and paragraph 3. What you are doing is you're going back in your research that you did last week of your 3 pieces of evidence, your 3 reasons why you chose that character trait for Jeremy. Now, when you are writing, you might also want to consider using this chart, right? For instance, for example, because, according to what I read. Another chart you can use that I included in your classroom for this week looks like this. Essayists, that's you. Essayists don't just plop evidence into their essays. They comment on it by explaining how it supports the claim they're trying to make. They might write, this is important. This means, in other words, the author used the words or phrases, and the character could have, but instead, what these are, writers, are really good sentence starters for when you do that reasoning, when you do that reason why you included that evidence. All you need to do today is make sure that you pick those 3 reasons that you chose last week and do it and write a paragraph for each one. Claim, evidence, and reasoning. Have fun, do your best, and make sure that you're backing up those claims with lots of really good evidence and reasoning. And remember, this is all still rooted in those shoes, the book about Jeremy. And please, writers, do not be submitting your work until Friday. I know many of you have been accidentally submitting it, and that's okay, but let's remember not to submit until Friday so you can take as much time as you need on these. Have fun, and I will see you soon.